Welcome everyone to today's deep dive where we unravel the fascinating and unbelievable story behind one of the most remarkable and surprising discoveries in the entire world of coin collecting, the 1981 cent coin, a coin that for many people might appear to be just another ordinary penny they see every single day in their pocket change, yet for experts, collectors, and numismatists this coin has become one of the most sought-after rarities in history because of its extraordinary mistakes and minting errors that skyrocketed its value to an unbelievable $4.5 million. And in this journey together we are going to explore exactly what makes this particular 1980 penny so incredibly valuable, why the errors are so rare, and how it is possible that such a small and humble piece of copper could turn into a treasure worth millions. And as we unfold this captivating narrative, we will not only look at the historical context of the penny itself, but also dive into the different types of errors that can occur during the minting process, why they matter to collectors, how these errors happened in 1980, what varieties exist, and why only a few survived in the condition that makes them this desirable. Because when people first hear that a penny from 1980 could be worth $4.5 million, their initial reaction is usually disbelief. Thinking, how can something that was mass-produced in the hundreds of millions suddenly command a price tag that rivals expensive luxury cars, mansions, or even rare artworks? But the truth is that mistakes in minting are unpredictable, often accidental, and when combined with the right conditions they create a level of rarity and desirability that is unmatched. And this 1980 penny embodies that perfect storm of historical significance, rarity, era uniqueness, and collector obsession. So let's begin with the background of the 1981 cent coin, which was produced in massive numbers by the United States Mint at a time when pennies were transitioning from primarily copper composition to copper-plated zinc, because by 1982 the metal composition changed due to rising copper prices, meaning the 1980 pennies were still struck on copper planchets, but their era was nearing an end, and in that twilight period of copper cents some astonishing mistakes were made, one of which created the now legendary $4.5 million rarity. And when we talk about mint errors, we are discussing things like double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, wrong planchet strikes, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks, and die cracks, among others. Each of these can range in minor forms that add only a little premium to absolutely spectacular ones that redefine the value of a coin entirely. And the 1981 cent coin in question is known for a double die obverse that was so strong and unusual that the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1980, show dramatic doubling visible even to the naked eye, making it an immediate standout. And to compound its rarity, this doubling was combined with a misaligned die strike which caused the rim to appear thicker on one side and thinner on the other, something that already sets it apart from standard issues. But the most jaw-dropping aspect was that a small batch of these coins were struck on transitional planchets that were not intended for 1980, meaning that instead of the normal copper planchets, a few coins were mistakenly struck on experimental or leftover test pieces with slightly different weight and metallic composition, and this combination of errors created one of the most spectacular error coins of all time, with experts calling it a once-in-a-century mistake. And when collectors discovered one in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, it shattered auction records by selling for an eye-popping $4.5 million. Cementing its place as one of the most valuable pennies ever known, and part of the intrigue behind this coin is the possibility that there may be more out there, hiding in jars, drawers, or boxes of old coins that families have been saving for decades, because era coins are often overlooked and dismissed by the untrained eye, yet for the trained numismatist these tiny details are golden clues to unimaginable value. And imagine for a moment the thrill of finding a 1980 penny in circulation or in your change that bears those incredible mistakes, realizing you are holding a multi-million-dollar treasure in your hand. It is a dream that has driven collectors for years to search tirelessly through rolls, bags, and boxes of pennies in the hope of stumbling upon that one-in-a-billion rarity. And it is this sense of possibility and adventure that keeps the hobby of coin collecting alive and thriving. And when we discuss what makes this coin so desirable, it's important to highlight that not all errors are equal. Some are relatively common and may only be worth a few dollars, but others, like the 1981 cent with its dramatic double die and wrong planchet strike, are so extremely rare that demand far outweighs supply, and this is where astronomical values come into play, because collectors and investors who want to own a piece of numismatic history are willing to pay sums that seem unimaginable to the average person, and the 1980 penny embodies the perfect formula. Historical significance as one of the last of the copper pennies before the transition, a spectacular error combining multiple mistakes, extreme rarity with only a handful believed to exist, and high demand driven by collectors' desire for the best of the best. And another interesting aspect that drives the price higher is the condition, because not all era coins are preserved well, many were used in circulation and show signs of wear which diminishes their value. But the coin that achieved the record sale was in nearly flawless condition, graded as mint state by one of the leading grading companies. And when rarity is combined with condition, the price can skyrocket exponentially. And beyond just the coin itself, the story adds to its allure. The idea that a small slip in the minting process during a transitional period of U.S. coinage could produce a coin that changes lives, a coin that is talked about in numismatic circles around the world, and a coin that inspires thousands to recheck their pocket change with fresh eyes. And while some skeptics argue that paying millions for a penny is irrational, the truth is that value in collectibles is determined by rarity and demand, and this coin has both in abundance. And if we consider the psychology of collectors, the chase for something unique and historically important outweighs practical considerations, making such coins not just objects but symbols of status, passion, and even investment opportunities. Because a coin like the 1981 cent that has already reached $4.5 million may continue to appreciate in value as more people enter the hobby and competition increases for the very top to rarities. And this raises the fascinating possibility that in the future this penny could break even higher records, potentially surpassing its already mind-blowing auction price. And one might ask what other kinds of errors exist on 1980 pennies that could be valuable. And the answer is that while the $4.5 million rarity is the pinnacle, there are also other varieties worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, such as minor double dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. And while they don't reach the astronomical levels of the record-breaking coin, they are still highly collectible and illustrate the wide spectrum of value that era coins can have. And this is why coin collectors often spend years learning to identify even the most subtle mistakes. Because what looks like a small detail to the untrained eye might be the key to discovering a life-changing treasure and reflecting on the bigger picture. The story of the 1980 penny is not just about money, it's about history, human error, chance, and the thrill of discovery. It is about how something as small as a 1-cent coin can capture the imagination of millions, teaching us that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. And it reminds us that in every handful of change there might be a story waiting to be uncovered. A story of a coin that defies logic and transforms into a legend. And for anyone watching or listening right now, this is an invitation to start looking closer at the coins in your possession, to appreciate the artistry, the history, and the potential hidden gems that might be lying unnoticed. And even though not everyone will find a 1980 penny worth $4.5 million, the search itself is a rewarding journey, one that connects people to history, to community, and to the thrill of possibility. And this is why stories like this continue to resonate, fueling dreams, igniting passions, and sparking endless conversations, because after all, who wouldn't want to believe that their spare change might hold the key to a fortune? And so the legacy of the 1980 penny lives on, not just as a coin, but as a symbol of rarity, luck, and the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. And as we conclude this deep dive into its mysteries and marvels, remember that in the world of numismatics, anything is possible. And the next legendary discovery might just be waiting in the palm of your hand. Now that we have unraveled the incredible story of the 1981 cent coin that stunned the world with its record-breaking $4.5 million value, let us journey forward in time to another fascinating and equally thrilling discovery in the world of numismatics, the legendary 1994 1-cent coin, which, due to its bizarre minting errors, unique historical timing, and rarity, has become a coin valued at a staggering $3 million. And just like with the 1980 penny story, at first glance people often dismiss the 1994 penny as an ordinary copper-plated zinc cent they see and spend every day without a second thought. But hidden among the billions minted is an era coin so rare and so extraordinary that it rewrote numismatic history, showing yet again how mistakes in the minting process can transform a simple piece of change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And to fully understand why the 1994 penny is worth this unimaginable amount, we have to look closely at the context of its production, because by 1994 the U.S. Mint had long since switched from the traditional copper pennies of earlier decades to zinc-based planchets coated with copper, a change that was implemented in 1982 to save on production costs as copper prices rose, and although billions of these zinc-cored pennies were struck in the 1990s. A rare accident in 1994 resulted in a small batch being struck on leftover copper planchets that should not have existed at the time, and the fact that these transitional era pennies survived is nothing short of remarkable, and what makes them even more spectacular is that some were struck with dramatic doubling on the obverse where inscriptions like Liberty and the motto, In God We Trust, appear bold and doubled to the naked eye, and in the numismatic world such doubling, when dramatic and clear, is like a beacon for collectors, and when paired with a wrong planchet or transitional error, the rarity multiplies exponentially, creating the perfect storm of value. And that is exactly what happened with the 1994 penny that reached $3 million at auction, a coin struck on a copper planchet when all regular issues should have been zinc-based, combined with strong doubling and a misaligned die strike that shifted the design slightly off-center, giving it a unique and unmistakable appearance. And when such a coin surfaced in pristine uncirculated condition, graded at the highest mint state levels by professional services, the numismatic community erupted with excitement, because they knew this was no ordinary error but a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and the bidding wars that followed in auction rooms were intense, with wealthy collectors determined to own a piece of history, driving the final price to an astonishing $3 million. And what makes this coin's story even more fascinating is the broader historical significance of the 1990s pennies. Because by then, most people had little regard for cents, treating them as virtually worthless in everyday use, yet hidden within those billions of common coins was a rarity that would prove more valuable than gold by weight, and this irony adds another layer of allure to the coin, as it symbolizes how the smallest, most overlooked object can sometimes carry the greatest worth. And when analyzing why collectors are willing to pay millions for a 1994 penny, the reasons become clear: rarity, uniqueness, historical importance, condition, and desirability, all converging in one coin. And like the 1980 penny, the 1994 era penny embodies the dream of every collector, the hope that somewhere in their change jar, coin roll, or inherited collection lies a coin that defies logic and transforms their life. And this dream fuels the passion of numismatists who spend years studying varieties, searching through circulation, and hunting at estate sales or auctions for that one hidden gem. And when considering the technical side, mint errors of this magnitude are incredibly rare. Because the U.S. Mint has rigorous quality control standards, making it nearly impossible for transitional planchets or dramatic die errors to slip through, but history has shown that no system is perfect, and when mistakes happen under unusual circumstances, they create treasures like the 1994 1 cent valued at millions, and beyond its physical attributes the coin carries a story of chance and survival. Because most era coins are caught and destroyed before leaving the mint, so the fact that this one not only escaped but also survived decades in pristine condition is nothing short of miraculous, and it leads us to wonder how many more such rarities might still be undiscovered, hiding unnoticed among everyday coins, waiting for sharp eyes and patient hands to uncover them. And this is the magic of coin collecting, the blend of history, art, economics, and luck all wrapped into one, a hobby where anyone, regardless of age or background, has a chance to stumble upon a life-changing discovery. And when people hear about a 1994 penny being worth $3 million, it reignites that spark of curiosity and imagination, encouraging them to look closer at their coins, to appreciate the details, and to dream bigger, because it shows that fortune can be hiding in the most ordinary of places. And so the legacy of the 1994 penny lives on not just as a physical object but as a story that inspires, excites, and teaches us that sometimes mistakes, accidents, and imperfections are what makes something truly priceless.